Hello, Nick Fenton here, founder of TickerTank.com, here with part 3 of our naked put entry criteria video series. It's a 7-part series we're putting on. Part 1 we discussed liquidity and diversification preference. Part 2 we discussed what you can do with a small portfolio versus a large portfolio as far as this strategy goes. And in part 3 we are going to discuss time preferences on entry and exit of a naked put. So let's pull up my favorite, most liquid underlying SPY, and we'll wait for the options chain. Here we go. So as discussed in part 1, these little the numbers in parentheses here are the amount of days left until expiration. So in this case, the first set of weeklies and minis is 2 days left, 9 days left on the second set. Regular April options, 16 days left. Regular May options, 44 days left. June options, 79 days left, and so on. My personal preference on entry, when I like to enter naked puts, is within 50 and 65 days left until expiration. So 50 being the lowest amount of days left until expiration where I like to enter, 65 being the max. So, in that sweet spot is my favorite. As you can see here, the lowest, there's nothing that really meets that criteria right now. 44 is below 50, 79 is above 65. Pretty basic. So at the moment, I wouldn't be looking to enter naked puts, but I simply wanted to share because that's a very important part of the whole naked put entry criteria series. The reason for that 65-50 day time preference is simple. That is your area of entry. That's the sweet spot of entry where you really maximize your theta decay potential. So theta decay is your time decay. As time progresses, as time goes on, you lose a little bit of money, or the option loses a little bit of time value as time progresses. In that 50-65 day window, you have more theta premium. It's not a linear situation as far as theta and vega volatility premium goes. At that 50 to 65 day period on the bell curve of your premium decay potential, that is kind of your optimal point, the peak of the bell curve at which you would enter if you're being a seller of premium. So with that in mind, I take that and I use that and I apply that, and it works. It's pretty much that simple. That's my preference. Now, as far as exit, I really don't like holding naked puts any more than 7 to 10 days prior to expiration. So generally when I'm doing a naked put strategy, I am realizing commissions on entry and exit, because rarely, very rarely, do I hold into expiration and let it expire worthless, unless it's an overnight earnings play, which is a completely different conversation. So I don't like to hold further than 7 to 10 days prior to expiration. So generally, if I'm still holding when there's 7 to 10 days left until expiration, I'll go ahead and cover. Also, usually right after I enter a naked put, I'll work a GTC order to cover the spread at 5 cents at a nickel. Reason being is no harm in having that open. And let's say I'm away from my computer, or I'm in a meeting, or something crazy happens and I'm not around, and that thing rallies like crazy, and the option all of a sudden goes to 5 cents. It rarely happens, but you might as well have that thing working at a nickel cover. There's no harm in that whatsoever. What I generally do, as far as exits go, if I see a really quick opportunity to take a reasonable amount, say 15 to 25% return on buying power effect, then I will go ahead and take it. And return on buying power effect is simply calculated by looking at the buying power effect that we looked at in the previous part 2. So in BBRY, for example, we had about a $200 buying power effect. So if you're looking for, say, a 20% return Once you get to a 40 cents profitability, then you're going to be at a 20% return. So $40 on $200 is 20%. That pretty much sums this up. It's really simple for part 3, just the time preference. 50 to 60 day entry sweet spot. I don't like to exit any more than 7 to 10 days prior to expiration. And if I have an opportunity to take a quick exit sooner than that at a reasonable return on buying power effect, I'll take it. That'll do it for part 3. Part 4, we are going to discuss implied volatility study and the importance of implied volatility, applying it to the naked put strategy. So we'll see you there.